Let's try that again. Welcome back to Adobe Live on this fine Tuesday. Like the guy who does the tech work is apparently asleep today.
Yeah, what's up?
Right, let's try this again. Welcome back on this fine Tuesday. Today, I am joined once again by the amazing Robert Hranitzky.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Right.
Yeah. Hello.
My name is Tim, apparently.
That's handsome Tim. Dressed very Christmassy.
Yeah, I call this design Silent Night.
It's called the Dark Grinch. Or Darth Grinch.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
See? And, of course, this is the second part of the big festive week, right? Yeah. Yesterday, we were already joined by the one and only Carina Lindmeyer, who is also joining us from over there. Hi. We've got an audience today, apparently. And yesterday, you were working on some illustration together with Melanie, who's also here. Hi. And today...
And again.
Stop, come on.
Yeah, we need to hurry up.
And today, we are, or rather Rob is working on the animation. And this is part 2 of the stream. And of course, we are not alone. We are once again joined by the amazing and dedicated community who is hopefully watching us on Behance, because if you're not watching on Behance, then you're definitely missing out. I will post the link in the YouTube chat in a moment, but I would like to say hi to everyone who's joining us, such as Angus and Jack. Hi, Jack, and Kirsty and Linda and Oliver and Sandrine and Sean and Stefan and someone called Tim, whoever that is. And Oliver's asking, does Tim own any t-shirts that are not black? Yes, I do own one that has the stream team design on it, and that's a dark blue. Well, anyway, right, so
Darth Tim.
Tell us, what do we have, what do you have on your computer, and what are we doing today?
So we are going to have some fun in After Effects, because we will breathe some life into Carina's wonderful illustration. Not that it is, I mean, it isn't lifeless, of course, because it's a wonderful wonderful illustration. But everything that is animated has even more life to it, or it looks even more exciting, because all of a sudden, static things start to move, and they can tell a little story. They can be more engaging, and also there is a trend, because I think the algorithm. Can you say the algorithm?
The algorithm
prefers motion pictures, movie files,
yes,
videos, and all that stuff. So technically, even if it's a still, it can still be a little bit animated. So we are just breathing just a tad bit of life into this wonderful illustration of Carina. And it's, of course, a festive greeting card. It has a couple of elements. If you are switching over to my screen, Tim.
Of course.
That's your hint.
Very good. Thank you, Robert. Amazing teamwork.
Then you will actually see the wonderful illustration that Carina created for us in Adobe Fresco yesterday. So all you see here didn't exist like 48 hours ago, right?
Incredible.
So everything was created live by Carina, and I'll animate it live. So I didn't have a chance to prepare everything, like lay out all the things in advance. But everything that you see here, that you saw yesterday, you see here today, and you'll see tomorrow, is created live on the fly, more or less. So if we are running into any hiccups, it's proof that it's live and that we will solve them instantly
that's right,
as we go ahead. So it was a lot of fun in the German stream that we just finished a few minutes ago. And I think the result was quite nice. I was quite happy with it. We will try to get there as well here in the UK stream. And if you're looking at the illustration of Carina's, again, it was created in Adobe Fresco. And maybe some people are not aware that you can directly create PSD Photoshop document files from Fresco. So technically, you can start working on it on the iPad, and then you can send it over to your desktop machine as a PSD file that you can work on it in Photoshop, rename layers, organize layers, or do whatever you need to do with a PSD file in Photoshop. And since we have this here in Photoshop, I would like to walk you through the file, because one thing that is very crucial before actually starting to animate is to have an understanding and a plan of what you want to do. But also you have to understand what type of file you have, okay? What is possible to be animated. Because sometimes I have it with client work that they are just like, can you animate this? And they just send you a still image. And of course you can animate a still image. You can move it up and down and you can add some effects to it, but technically the image itself cannot be animated because it's a flat image. So what happens is you have to start separating elements. You have to mask out elements. You have to paint over elements that have been extracted. You know, for example, if you would take a photo of Tim and me in the mountains, and you want to have Tim fly in from the side.
As I do.
If I cut out Tim, obviously there will be nothing behind him because there's a cutout, right? Unless you have a second photo where there's nothing, a so-called clean plate. The same would apply for if this illustration would be flattened, right? So if you would look at the gingerbread man, if this would be like a flat illustration, if you cut out gingerbread man, you don't know like how does it exactly look behind it. But since this is all based on layers, we can just very easily hide the layers. So that's why I was telling Carina like very adamantly that she has to work in layers. So as many layers as possible gives us as much flexibility as possible. So it's better to have more layers rather than less because you can always...
Carina says thumbs up, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So we ended up having much more layers than we needed. Of course, there's many more, you know, like if you open up anything here, any of those groups, you will see that everything is in layers. Like the heart has the dots, you know, the little highlights, everything is layered. And it's great because I don't mind too many layers. So that means we can animate every layer separately, independently from the other elements. So that's what I always say is like, okay, when you receive files from a client or from a coworker, always look through a file, check it out, and already start to plan out what you might be able to do. Have a rough plan. So for example, if we are looking at the heart composition or heart group in Photoshop, you will see that we have a couple of layers that I already showed. So we can make the heart beat, for example, you know, like scale up and down. So that's easy peasy. We have Stern oben rechts. And by the way, this is also a German course because we have some of the elements in German.
Repeat, listen and repeat. Stern oben rechts.
Is star top right. So a couple of elements are English or just neutral. And of course we have the Adobe group here. And for the Adobe group, I already did some work. So when Carina sent me the file, the Adobe lettering, it's like handwritten with one of her favorite brushes, as far as I know, was on one layer, right? It was just one layer with all the letters on it. And what I did is I selected the layer and I copied and pasted all the letters one by one. So we have individual letters going on so we can easily animate those letters. This will allow us more flexibility and animation later on. I did the very same process for all the other letters so that it's true for the greetings, that's true for Festive, and of course for live as well. If we are looking at the, let's say we look at the tree, Baum.
Tree.
You will see that we have a couple of layers here, like the lights, and the snow, and everything is separate, and everything is grouped. And that was the question: what happens with those clipping masks? So, for example, with a clipping mask like this for the lines, everything is compatible with After Effects, which is fantastic because you can just directly import the Photoshop file into After Effects and get going with the animation. One thing I have already changed and saved for this file is the actual file size. And let me show you the very original, the OG file that we received from Carina. This is the file. You will see that if I go to Bildgröße, which means
image size.
Thank you. It's like my instant translator. You will see it is 4,000 times 5,000 pixels, which is pretty large, right? I mean, it's good enough to print out a big poster.
It's a chonker.
Which is fantastic because, again, the same principle applies for the image size and the document size. it's better to have more and more information, more layers, a larger image size that you can shrink down instead of have something that is smaller and enlarge it, because of course this will happen with interpolation and all the pixels will be a little bit, in terms of quality, not as nice because it has to, interpolate pixels.
It has to recalculate them, and that's not
so all the information that is added to that is not original. So what I did is I went in and reduced the size by 50% to get roughly 2000 times 2500 as a size, and that's what we have here in the original, in the document that I just prepared for everything. I think I left the rest pretty much as it is. One thing that I, funnily enough, learned in the German stream that I didn't know, apart from naming all the layers, it's also important to see the layers. And Tim told me this trick. I don't want to hide this from you. Little icon, big impact. If you go to that
hamburger icon,
you go to
the panel options.
And then you have miniature content, and you can define on how much the miniature will show. Right now, it is showing the whole document. So basically, you can see the whole document. If you have like 1 pixel here, you will not be able to see it, no matter how big you size up the miniatures. But as soon as you hit on
layer bounds,
you will see that all of a sudden, for example, here you will see how it changes. Okay, so let's show it again. Evitsev. So, whole document, you can't really tell. And again, if you go to the option and change that, all of a sudden you will see that. And of course, we can change the order for it to make sense. Festive, okay, Tim? So
very good.
All right, so let's save that, and let's go into After Effects.
That's also After Effects in English.
Yeah, After Effects is in English, yes, because it's easy to.
Also, by the way, Joe just joined us. He said, "Hello, München." Yes, we're live from Munich, and by the way, if you couldn't tell, like we're in the same room. Also, all the.
It's physical.
Stop touching me. No, we also have all the single layers bingo by Angus.
All the single layers.
All the single layers. So. And also, if you like it, you gotta put a name on it.
Yep.
Or if you like it, you can put a link on it.
Or a ring on it.
A link.
You like a link?
Link, yeah, a link.
Oh, I like a link.
I mean, it's funny because the layer.
Yeah.
Right, After Effects.
Okay, After Effects. So, the easiest way to import your files into After Effects is not the menu and go into Import, and it's also not the shortcut Command-I, because that means you have to take your hands off the mouse or the tablet. But it's the easiest to double-click on the project panel, and then you'll be able to import the files. And now you can see, okay, you have different options. Let's import the latest one, which is this one. It's called Adobe Live Festive Low Res, because I saved it as a low res variant. And of course, I kept the original. That's always something I recommend as well. I mean, of course, you can overwrite it, but then you just have overwritten the original. So always keep a backup copy of the OG file in case something goes wrong. So we have this. How do we import it? The main important thing is not to import it as a footage element, but as a composition and retain layer sizes. And this way, this will be interpreted as separate elements, as separate layers. Okay, so right now we already have a composition. It is already at 5 seconds in length, because that's my previous length that I have worked with in After Effects. So it saves the previous length. And so for example, if my previous composition length would have been 30 seconds, the new composition would be 30 seconds as well. But since we're at 5, it's the perfect length. We want to have like a 5-second loop animation where the center part of the image with the letter will animate in and open up, and the letter will flip open, and all the elements will fly out and jump out like a Jack in the Box. But it's not Jack in the Box, but it's like Jack in a letter, right? So a gingerbread man in the letter. That might be a new thing. So it will fly out and it will loop, you know, the heart will beat and the stars will turn and so on and so on. So that's the that's the basic plan that we want to do. All right, looking at the layers, you will notice that we have the exact same layer order as we had in Photoshop. The good thing is that Photoshop groups become After Effects compositions. And since you can nest compositions into compositions, we already have more or less logical sub-compositions.
See, and Unicorn was ahead of us. So all the group layers from Photoshop are now pre-composed in After Effects. That's right.
Correct, Unicorn. That's exactly what happens. So if you look at the heart, Herz oben, which is
hard top.
Correct. Oh, top heart.
Top heart.
Top heart. You know, no. Okay. If we isolate this one with the solo layer, okay. So in Photoshop, you always have to hit the Option key to solo a layer. Okay, it doesn't work here in After Effects. But what you can do is instead of hitting the Option in the I, you just hit on the solo button, and this will isolate this particular layer, or in this case, the composition, and show only this composition in relation to the overall framing. So we can see the heart here, and we would like to get animated with a heart. But let me show you how the pre-composed composition looks like. If I double click on that, you will already see that we have all the separate elements in that composition in there. So we have a vector layer with the dots, we have the highlight, we have the heart itself, and we have the vector layer of the heart. And actually the vector layer is transformed as a rastered layer in After Effects. And of course, the background. So how can we make the heart beat? We did some math in the previous stream. We found out that it's about every 20 frames that we have, we should have like a heartbeat. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create layer markers every 20 frames. Not sure if the shortcut works. It does work. It is Control 8. So I set a marker here at 20 frames. I hold down the Command and the Shift key and the arrow key. So all you need to do is take both your hands and your left foot to apply that shortcut. And if I click on that, you will see that the timeline cursor will jump 10 frames forward. And if you hit the left arrow key, it will go 10 frames backwards. And if you let go of the Shift key, you go frame by frame.
Neat.
So that is pretty cool.
So how fast is this heart beating, or should this be beating?
Every 20 frames.
Every 20 frames? Let's check. Yeah.
Okay. Layer marker, 20 frames, layer marker, 20 frames. I mean, you're nervous, so that's why probably...
No, actually, it's lower than before.
It's lower?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
75.
Tim is such a cool guy, he's obviously... All right, so how can we animate this? Well, I can animate the scale up and down, make the heartbeat. But as you can see, we have multiple layers that belong to the heartbeat as well. So how can we animate multiple layers by just controlling one layer? Well, there is an option to parent and link those layers together. The easiest way is to simply select the layers that you want to link. So for example, the outline and the highlight, as well as this extra highlight here on the heart. It really gives it a lot more dimension. It looks almost like 3D-ish. So I will collect those two layers and I will select the parent link and parent it to the main layer. Now, if I move it up or down, you will see that everything is connected. So I can animate just the base layer and everything else will follow. So how can we go ahead? Let's just set it at 0%. Go in 3-4 frames maybe. Go 125. Okay, usually I would say do not scale up pixel layers because you will lose quality. But since we have a high resolution that we are outputting to, I think we're fine. And also given that the look of the image illustration is a little bit jaggy and a little bit organic, it's not so bad if you scale up elements in this case. But always be aware, as soon as you scale up something and it's not a vector layer, although it says vector layer, it's a Photoshop layer, as you can see on the icon, it will interpolate the pixels. So that's not the best thing. Again, in this case, we can just gladly do that. Okay, and then it goes down again to 100. It's like bum bum, right? Okay, so that's 1 beat. Make it maybe faster, maybe like 2 frames.
You could also actually just have 2 keyframes and use in the graph editor the Bezier to make a curve instead of having 3 keyframes.
That's true.
You could do that, but I think this
That's
is also
true.
this is faster, maybe. Yeah.
And I would like to have the which beat is like stronger, dun dun or dun dun. The first one or the second one?
Dun, 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 dun.
The first one is stronger, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make the first one 135 in scale, and the second one I'll make it 120, so it's noticeably smaller. Okay, and then we'll go down to 100. Okay, so let's check that out.
Ooh, people are joining us. Hi, Gareth. And hi, Carina. Didn't see you for a long time.
And now I would like to select that keyframe. If you look at the keyframes, you will see that it's very linear, which is fair enough for something that is very fast. What?
Yeah.
But we want to smooth out the last beat. Okay, so the last beat should ease out. Okay, and you can see that. I mean, even if I exaggerate it. Okay, so that's cool. All right, so what can we do? We can take those keyframes and paste them at those 20-second markers. And if you look at it now, and paste another one, you will see how it looks like, okay? So this is like a 5-second thing. Okay, dum dum.
Very nice.
Dum dum, okay? And I think it's fine. I mean, that gap is a little bit smaller, but, you know, we left like 1 out, so it's like 20, 20, 20. Yeah, I mean, you could technically hold down, select all the keyframes, hold down the Option key, and proportionally reduce the length to make it, you know, almost perfect. Like this, for example. If you want to do that, you can do that, and then it's more in rhythm, and the gap is equal length, I think. Or is it equal length? Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, that's about right.
Cool. So what can we do? We can select those keyframes and copy them, because, you know, it's always good to work smarter, not harder. So
well said.
We copy that and we go to the other heart composition, which is Herz unten, which means
Bottom heart.
bottom heart. So we can see the bottom heart here. It's a nice little pink heart, and we do the same thing. We parent that highlight layer to the heart layer. We open up scale, and we just paste the keyframes in there.
From the bottom of our heart. No, to the bottom of our heart.
to the bottom layer of the heart. That's right. But now we can change the timing of the keyframes. Okay, so it actually doesn't start right away, but starts 1 second later than the other one. And if we go back to our main composition and we show everything together, you will see now that they're not beating at the very same time.
So there's sort of some offset between.
There's some offset, yeah, which looks more interesting, because if everything is symmetrical, it's always kind of like, I don't know, it looks robotic and not so organic. So
Although now we don't have some beating for the beginning, so there's a bit of heart arrhythmia in it. Although I bet there are medications for that.
yeah, sure, you can fix that.
Fix that in
I think
post.
that's fine.
Right. Fantastic.
All right, so that's done. Let's look at the stars. Let's start with the star here on the bottom. I would like to have the star pulse, rotate, and yeah, maybe scale up and down. So we have the streaks, and we have the star itself. Stern means
Star.
so we can easily animate that. So the easiest way to go ahead is maybe have those streaks, I don't know, go up and down. So I would say scale.
Yeah, but scaling up and down and move it all around. Some rotation maybe. Yeah.
Maybe 50%. Go back to 125, so make it a little bit maybe a little bit larger, 115.
Also, Joe didn't know about the proportion shortcut. And he said thanks.
He's very welcome. I hope
There you go.
Joe is doing fine in Japan.
Oh, yeah. What time is it for you? Let us know. By the way, you should definitely tune in tomorrow to the stream, because we may have a present for you. For one of you, that is. So you might want to tune in tomorrow. Just saying. Right.
All right, so I'm just giving it some variation. So just adding some keyframes. It's not always the same distance. And now I'm going into right-click, say Easy Ease. So if you look at the curve, it's something that is a little bit more smoother. So it goes up and down, sometimes a little bit bigger. Okay, and one important thing is to offset the last keyframe, because the last keyframe is at 100, just as the first keyframe, but we want to have a perfect loop, so you can offset that. Speaking of loops, do you know any expert on loops?
Loops? No.
Okay, because then tomorrow you should join.
Yeah, but
tomorrow is the German thing, right? It's not the English thing, right?
oops.
Ah, okay. That joke didn't
So
work.
I don't know anything about loops, but someone should do a stream about that perhaps next year. Who knows?
But you're doing it in German, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and rotate the star. So we can, I don't know. Let's rotate it once by 360. Okay, just like that. And maybe have it pulse in the opposite direction. So whenever the streaks are small, the star should be big. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So let's make this star 100%. Actually, hang on, it's 100% here. So it should be small. Let's make it 70%.
3.4 here. No, Angus.
What?
It's a running joke. We once did, I think it even was the Festive challenge. Prints and pints, that was the joke. And ever since then, they are asking for free pints instead of prints. I think it was a typo. Someone forgot an R. No prints or pints. No.
Okay, all right. I do the same thing with a scale. Easy ease. All right, so align them. Okay, so that's
Hey.
rotating, scale, move up and down. I think that's fine.
Could add some glow, but that's just me. Maybe later.
Tim and his glows.
Yeah.
All right, so what I can do now is I can copy the scale parameters from that star and go to the next star element and paste that in. Okay, so paste that in, go to rotation and paste that in as well. Okay, so we have the same keyframe setup. As for rotation, of course, you have to also make sure that it is offset by one frame. And for this one, I would like to have it rotate the other way around. So I just type in -1. So it's going counterclockwise. Okay, so it's going this way. The other one is going clockwise. So this one needs to be offset as well. And we go to the streaks and we select the scale properties of the streaks and paste those in as well. So if we go back, you already will see that we have animated 4 elements very quickly now. So they're all moving independently. And one thing that I noticed now is that we're living on the edge, right?
Yeah. Oh, where's Annika when you need her? There's a viewer in the chat, Annika Agawal, who always asks, like, have you saved yet?
All right.
And Annika isn't here.
So she is the human version of autosave.
She's our savior.
She's the savior, right. So as you can see, you have the document called Untitled Project with a star next to it. The star...
Very festive.
It's very... it's very festive.
We shall keep it.
The star indicates that, again, small icon, big impact. It means that you haven't saved yet.
Yeah.
Okay? Or that you haven't saved the current state, at least. The name untitled project tells you that you haven't never saved the document, which also means there won't be any autosave that will save you in case of a crash or a power failure or whatever.
That's right.
So you should go in and save the document. So let's call this Adobe Live Festive EN_01 and save that document. Now, every 10 minutes, I think I have it set up as an interval of 10 minutes autosave. Oh, 20 minutes it is.
There you go.
Okay, so every 20 minutes, it will be automatically saved, and there will be a folder generated where you can have your saved files automatically in that folder. So if anything happens, you lose a maximum amount of 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Sandrine says there is autosave, but Sandrine only if you have saved once before. So you have to save once your project, otherwise autosave won't happen. Also, this would be a good point to ask for feedback from a client.
I like it.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
I know what he says after that.
No idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, he's pesky.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's done. So let's go ahead and unsolo these layers so we see the whole context. So this is pulsing, moving up and down. Okay, quite subtle, not too much happening right now. And now we would like to spend some time on the actual content, the actual inner elements. And for that, I would like to do some housekeeping here in my file. Let me go ahead and fit up to 100%. And also one thing I would like to point out is if you have a reduced size on display here, it doesn't make sense to have this on full, right? Because full means it is, so for example, okay, what does these two mean? This is the display of how much it displays for you visibly. But this is how much it renders, okay? So it renders full, it renders all the pixels, but only shows you them at a size of 16.7%. So actually it makes more sense to go in and select the auto feature, which means it will automatically calculate all the necessary pixels for you. So for example, if you have about 25%, it will only show you every fourth pixel. And visibly, it doesn't change if you change it to full, right? I mean, you can see a little bit of a difference, but it's actually just it's actually just a visual illusion, more or less, because it's only calculating every fourth pixel. I mean, you can leave it to half. Usually, I have set it either to half or to automatic, because mostly I work in a higher resolution setup as here. For the stream, we set it to 1920 times 1080. But usually, it happens that it automatically will arrange the resolution to whatever resolution you have set up. So that's a little quality of life tip I can give to you. So let's set it up to fit up to 100%. And let's do our housekeeping for the layer organization.
Yeah, that's a lot of layers.
That's a lot of layers. And we like to keep things neat and tidy because especially since we have a timeline in After Effects and you animate from, you toggle layers open from the bottom to the top. So if you open up parameters, everything will fill up vertical space, and vertical space is precious. So that's why it's always good to have pre-comps as we have here. But also I would like to collect more elements together to be able to not just isolate them, but also to animate them individually, but also together, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, I would like to have all that is in the center be animated separately, but I want to control it as a single layer. So I will collect all those into a pre-comp. So what do we have? So let's look at the tree. The star, we want to have the white streaks, not the outline. Heart on top, of course not. Another tree, gingerbread man, star, the big star, candy, what do you call it? Candy cane?
Yeah.
Candy cane.
That's right.
And something is missing. The lines from the letter. And we have the kringle.
We'll just check. Is the mouth scaled correctly? We had some issues in the German stream, but that looks
That looks good, yeah.
And what about the toe size? That's also good. Yeah. Okay.
Oh God. Oh, that's a trauma. All right, so we have those kringles, and they were called yesterday. They were called action kringle, right, Carina?
Yep.
Action kringle.
Action Kringle.
You have to say it with an English American accent. Action kringle. So they have they have no purpose. And of course you have the couvert, which is a word for letter. So all these layers should be together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them. I'm going to change the color to, let's make it peach. Or actually, let's make it yellow as the letter is. So it really stands out.
It's an envelope.
It's an envelope. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Tim? Love it.
Closing Google Translate.
So we can go to a layer and say pre-compose or hit the shortcut, which you should know, which is Command or Control Shift C. And everything will be collected in envelope master. Okay?
And what are those checkboxes? Can you...
So all the attributes will be moved into the composition. Okay, that's correct. I can adjust the composition duration to the time span of the selected layers. I can just leave that out. But I can also say open new composition, which is also very handy because then I don't have to double click and open that separately. It's all about being effective. So I click on OK. And all of a sudden now I see that newly created pre-comp with all the layers that I have selected. I can unsolo them because I want to see them all. And if I want to see where is that layer in the context of the whole project, I can hold down the Tab key and I can see I'm in the envelope master and all these layers come into the envelope master. And envelope master is in Adobe Live Festive low res. So here's my envelope master and now I can animate that layer individually. I can have it move up and down, fade in, fade out, etc. But everything that should happen in this composition stays in that composition, okay? And I can just focus on animating all those elements. So what should happen? I want to have that envelope fly in. It will open up and all those elements will just jump out, okay? And one thing I would like to point out here, which is super important when you're animating, and it is actually even more important than knowing which button to push and which feature and which effect to apply, is learn the basics of animation. And for that, I always recommend the 12 Principles of Animation by Disney. There's a couple of websites I can recommend. This one is pretty cool because it gives you a visual representation of, for example, squash and stretch. It's something that you see in cartoons, you know, when, like, I don't know, Tom and Jerry, for example, when they're running, you know, like things are exaggerating, or when they just land, or like a bouncing ball is also a good example. When the ball lands on the floor, you know, it will be squashed and it will be like this, and if it bounces up, it will be stretched, so it will be like an oval shape. You have anticipation. Okay, so anticipation is quite interesting. So it will kind of like, if I want to move to Tim's side, to the right, you know, anticipation would be like go to the left first and then go over. Okay.
Can we do it one more time? Hang on. And
okay.
There we are.
All right. But these things are super important. Follow through and overlap is also another one. Slow in and slow out is actually ease in and ease out.
Yeah.
Because everything that is happening in nature is eased in and eased out, right? Even if I move my arm, it will start to move slow, be faster, and then slow down again. Okay, so everything is...
Carina's doing the robot.
Well, apart from Carina's robot arm, which is completely...
perfectly linear.
Yeah, completely linear. But yeah, you have arcs, secondary action, timing, and all that kind of stuff. So it's important to check these things out because they're so valuable. And even Adobe has its own little page on that. If you follow that link, you have exactly those 12 principles of animation explained, and also a little bit of history behind that on how it was and why it was created. So check that out. It will help you to become a much better animator, regardless of the tool that you use, because you just understand the basic principles of animation. All right, enough talk and theory. Let's go back to After Effects and to our envelope. So let's check out the envelope. We would like to animate the envelope. So how can we animate this? I would like this to flip open, and all the things should come out. And there's a couple of things we need to pay attention for. So for example, if we look at the envelope, we open that up, you will see that there's something called Deckel, which means cover, okay? And we also have the inner. So we have several elements in here. So the inner part and the layer that is covering, that's actually the envelope cover or top or what you call it. And now I can copy that layer, the top, and I can paste it in. Okay, so I'm pasting it in the same spot, so it's in the correct position. And what I can do now, if I hit on toggles and switches, I can make sure that this layer is a 3D layer. But beware, because there's one thing you need to pay attention for, because collapse transformation is active, which means no matter if I activate it as a 3D or not, this will be not properly recognized as a 3D layer, because in the layer itself, nothing is 3D. So it can look through the layer and take the information from within that composition into the top composition. So what you need to do is you turn that off. Nothing will change in terms of looks, and you activate 3D. And once you activate 3D, you will be able to not just see and control the X and Y axis, but also the Z axis. So you can move things in Z space forward and back. But one thing that is very important is the positioning of the controller gizmo. Right now, it is at the center of the document and not of the actual layer.
That's not what we want.
That's not what we want. So how can we fix that? Well, there's an easy way. Let me just undo the 3D option again. And we go to this pen behind / anchor point move tool. We select that and we move the anchor point exactly to the edge of the layer. Okay, just like that. And now, if I go back and turn this layer into a 3D layer, you will see that you have that 3D gizmo again. And now if I open up rotation, you will see that you have not just X and Y, but also Z rotation. So you can rotate and move it in position X, Y, and 0. So you can move it back and forth. And also if I show you that in the custom view, okay, so this is our 3D view, you can see that you can move that layer back and forth, left and right, up and down. So it's quite nice and very easy to do a flip open animation like that. So how can we open this up? Well, if I rotate this up like this, you will see that it will be rotating.
That's not right.
No, it's using exactly that angle. So we need to change that first. So we go into rotation and change that so that this gizmo here is aligned with the underlying angle. So it's 8 degrees. And then we have, yeah, it's 8 degrees.
Okay.
I know it was 9 before, but I don't know, I can change it to 9. Maybe it looks, I don't know, it's 8 or 9. Doesn't really matter so much to the last degree. And I rotate it back -9. Okay. So now if I open it up, you will see that it will be almost perfect. Okay. So we're maybe missing a little bit of.
Well, I'm sure you can go within the command key and fine tune the
yeah, exactly.
rotation. But
You can go into all the decimals and fine tune it. But I can also move it down just by 1 pixel.
Yeah.
And if I rotate it up now, I can move it actually just a couple of pixels until
there we are.
I have it like that. It should be fine enough for what we are achieving here.
And you don't want to you don't want to see us sit here and fine tweak all the 10th decimal places of the rotation. I'm sure you can all imagine how that will look.
Exactly. And I want to have a little color difference. So I went into my main envelope layer and I hit the top because we have copy and pasted the top into the main composition. So what we have now is we have the separation between the cover and the envelope beneath. So what we can do is now we can create keyframes and open this up in, I don't know, 4 or 5 frames maybe. So this will open up like this. Okay, so this will just go like that. Maybe ease out towards the end. Ease out is always like an ease in. That's a different story. Okay, so that's cool. So how can we animate all those elements, and how can we make sure those elements are actually looking like they are actually coming from within the letter? So they are covered. Well, the answer for that is masks. Is there anything new with masks in After Effects, Tim?
With masks, yes, perhaps if you have installed the latest and greatest of the October release. I know there has been a December release too, which is all about Cinema 4D news. You can actually use the latest track mattes, which allow you to interlink different layers regardless of their position in your layer panel, and of course also multiple layers, so you can have one mask and reuse it for many different other layers as a mask. And by the way, I forgot to say something. If you're watching on YouTube, come on over to Behance. I've put the link in the chat. Right, back to you.
That's right. So,
almost forgot.
One thing that is super important is to make sure that you're working effective, and the new masking system in After Effects is for me one of the biggest updates in recent releases, because it gives you so much more flexibility. Before, if you wanted to mask those 10 layers, you would have to have 10 masks or use other ways of masking, but this way it's super easy. Let me show you how. So first of all, we need to define how the mask should look like. So for that, I'm duplicating the envelope and I put it on the top. You don't have to put it on the top, but I'm just doing it as the way I'm used to be doing that. And there's multiple ways on how to do that. The easiest probably is to go in and find that layer, reveal that in the layer source in the project. Okay, and then it's called Couvert. So let me just duplicate that one and call this mask. Okay, and right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Option key. I'm just going to replace that. Nothing changes, of course, because it's the duplicated layer. But within that duplicated layer, in the mask layer, I would like to do some extras. So as you can see, this is the inner. And for this inner, I would like to mask out the inner. So I'm already creating a mask in the mask. Like a mask in the mask. I'm creating the mask.
Okay, yeah.
That should be the mask.
Yeah.
Right? So right now, I'm telling this, to cut that out. And now it's the opposite what we want, right? But we can very easily turn it around. So we can click on this button here and invert the mask. Okay, so now this part is subtracting this area from this lower layer here. And now if we go back to this layer, we can see that this is our mask that we have created. And now when I show everything, I can hide that mask, okay, because I don't want to have it be like that, because I want to use it as a separate mask so I can animate it. What I can do is I can select my tree, for example, go to toggles and switches, and now select that mask and just mask it out, okay? And now what you see is, again, the opposite what we want as a result. But by clicking on this button, I can invert the mask. So I do this for multiple elements.
I feel like we're in an infomercial. That's right, you just mask it out. It's that easy.
Yeah, exactly. And if you buy one, now you get a second one for free. No. All right, so this is how you can work with the new mask system. And whatever you do to this mask, even if you move that mask or enlarge it or whatever, will be true for all the layers that are masked with this one single layer. And this allows you to be super flexible. You can also change that mask to be not an alpha mask as displayed by this icon here, but a luminance mask. If you switch that, you will see that little sun icon, which tells you that it's a luma matte instead of an alpha matte. But in this case, we want to have an alpha matte because we want to use the actual pixel information and alpha information as a mask. Cool. Any questions so far?
Well, they're asking for a voice from above. They're certainly enjoying this. Let's see, but I don't think there are any questions right now. I will let you know once we have some.
That's cool. Okay, so how can we animate this? Well, I would like to have, for example, the gingerbread man come out, and actually every other element as well. And before we do that, I would like to isolate them. And in fact, maybe I just want to get rid of the mask feature again, and I will activate it later on because I want to focus on the animation. But it's already set up, and we can just apply the mask whenever we're ready. And maybe I show also the couvert, so we have some reference on where he should jump out. So at roughly about 1 second, I set a P for position, S for scale, and R for rotation. And now when I scale him up or down, this is what happens. The anchor point is actually on his left arm. Right?
So you want to center the anchor point to, or do you actually want to center it, or do you want to put it somewhere like on the leg, or?
I want to put it on the leg. Okay. I want to put the anchor point here actually on this one here. Okay.
Because a neat shortcut is if you want to center an anchor point to a visible layer, you can just hold down Command and double click the anchor point tool.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And then it will center to the visible area.
Let me try that. So what was that?
Hold on Command.
Command.
And then double tap the anchor point tool. Should work. Maybe it doesn't like a tablet. No, it definitely was a command.
Maybe it's the English version. Hang on.
No. Well, it's not working today. Oh, maybe because the layer is that's.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be. Well, I would check that. Hang on.
Okay.
Let me do some research.
All right. Anyway, I'm doing it manually here because I want to be able to define it by hand that it's his right leg. So whenever I scale it now up and down, it will be scaled around this center point, and of course also move around the center point. So I would like him to move out of the envelope into his final position, and I'm still placing him, I don't know, like maybe here, and I would like to have him slightly bigger, 125%. So just like that. And a good thing is to animate backwards. So go a frame forwards, a couple of frames, like 10 frames. Timing is not relevant right now. And I'm just setting down position, scale, rotation. So this is the final resting position, so to say, of our gingerbread man. We go down to 1 second. And now we scale him down to 1%. Then we can see what happens. But I would like to have him rotate also. So maybe he's like coming out like this, okay? Zack.
Bam.
And also move him down a little bit, more to the inside. And maybe more to that. Okay, so he's growing out like this.
I don't think my laptop is liking After Effects right now. It's taking off.
That's the Intel one, right? Is it an Intel?
Yeah. It's quite an old one. It's actually from 2019, I think. So maybe I abort the mission.
And watch this. If I reduce the area of interest into that, you will see that this is quite a linear, boring-looking animation. Okay. I was babbling around with all the principles of animation and overshoot and anticipation and all that, squash and stretch, and nothing of that is actually used here. But how can we do that? Well, let me go in and set the scale to 135. Okay, so it's even bigger. 135. And here I set it to 9. Let's go 85. That's actually a little bit too much. Let's go 115. Okay, so it's getting big and small again, but then it should be big again. So let's say 120. So 135, 115, 125, and it should rest at, I don't know, 115. Maybe that's okay. So this is what happens. And this doesn't look right and doesn't look nice because the timing is completely off. If we select the scale keyframes, you can see how it looks like. Okay, so this distance is way too big compared to this distance. So what we can do is we can make it faster so it comes out and will actually bounce. Okay, So just a couple of frames, do the same thing here, and let's check it out now. Okay, so big, still too slow.
I think I just have to bring that MacBook away. That's way too loud. Shut up. That's the advantage of the new MacBooks. They don't use the fans that much, unlike this one. It's like, oh well.
Yeah,
it's bring that away from the mics. There you go. Somewhere down here. On the cold window, just open the window.
I'm curious it will help.
There you go. That's better. Right. See, no fans, nothing. Silent. Amazing. All right, so where were we? Put it in the naughty corner. Yep, that's right. Cool off. We've done too much. Amazing. Oh yeah, there was a question, by the way, from Sean, who was asking about the difference between Luma mats and alpha mats. So maybe if we have some time, we can take a look, because that is quite interesting. Yeah.
All right, the difference. Let me do a quick new composition. Difference Luma versus alpha. Okay, so we have a new composition here, and I would like to do some text. And for this, we do Tim.
Ooh, that's me.
And now I do a layer that is 500 times 500. Okay. And I do another layer. Actually, I do it on the same layer and add fractal noise. Okay, so check this out. Now I have Tim as a layer and a white solid.
Yeah.
If I solo the solid, you will see that it has transparency around it. But the white solid also has some black and white information because I have the noise on that one. So what can we do? We can define that this Tim layer should be masked by white solid. Okay, so now it is using alpha. So it's technically using the transparency that we have here. Okay, so the layer boundaries are masking the Tim layer. Just like that. I can, of course, invert it. And then, of course, it's inverted. So it shows the top part. So everything that is, everything that is covered in pixels is cutting out. And if I inverse it, everything that is not covered by pixel is cutting out, okay? But the difference, so this is like an alpha matte. The difference to a Luma matte is that now if I switch that icon to Luma matte, it will use the black and white information to cut out the information on the layer. And of course, since that layer is only relevant until half of Tim's layer, I can also move it up, of course. But you will see that it is masking out. If I do the checkerboard, you can...
Yeah.
Well,
it has some transparency, yes.
Let me actually go in and use like a dark red. So you can see the dark red coming through. And depending on how I set up the contrast for my fractal noise, for example, I can make it like a really rough contrast. You can see that it's masking out everything that is, in this case, black. Everything that is black will be transparent. Everything that is white is visible. But I can also invert that as well by clicking on the invert button. So everything that is black now is visible. Everything that is white is cut out. So that's the difference between an alpha and a Luma matte.
And I think that's where the confusion came from, because if the Luma matte at that point is transparent, it also acts as transparent. So transparency on the mask is the same thing as black. So that if you have like a white mask, then it actually doesn't make a difference if you change it whether to alpha or to Luma, because both would behave the same if your mask is just a white object.
Correct.
So that's maybe where the confusion came from, because sometimes the results are indeed very similar.
Yeah.
And my MacBook has finally calmed down, but you're not getting back. You're staying there and think about what you've done.
Yeah, you ruined the audio.
I really want a new MacBook.
Oh, you have a decent one here.
Oh, yeah, that's mine. It's also a MacBook Air. So anyway, right.
Okay, so we have animated the gingerbread man. Ease the keyframes. The timing is right. I think it looks okay. Maybe the size difference is a little bit too big, so let's make it 120. Okay, so the bounce is not as big. Okay, so it comes out like this, bow. Okay, and it nicely rotates out from the middle. Okay, so we can do the following. We can take the scale keyframes and apply the scale to the star in the background. We can do the same thing here. So it will come out like this. But now I was too quick because the anchor point is not changed. So before I apply that keyframe, I would like to change the anchor point to this one and apply that now. The same for the candy cane. And I have to move the anchor point as well down to the middle. And the same for tree 1. We're going to use tree 1 in this case.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 trees to choose from, but we both prefer tree 1, I think. We agreed on that one. So all these are correct, and I can select them, the tree as well, and paste the keyframes. Okay, so they all just appear like this. Okay, so that's a little bit boring because they all appear at the same time and they only have the scale animation on them and not the position and not the scale, not the rotation animated. So let me fix that. So as for position, we could copy and paste it, but it doesn't make sense because we want to have separate positions. So I'm gonna go backwards and say, okay, this is the final position and it should come from the middle, okay, from right here. And it should also rotate in. So again, animate from the back. So we set the resting keyframe here and it should turn.
Yeah, so you don't just have like a linear, perfectly translated movement and set up some secondary rotation. That's nice. I like it.
So I'm setting it up like this.
And Sandrine is also asking, would you curve the path to the right in order to have the cookie avoid the side of the envelope?
Yeah, that's a very good question because it's kind of like intersecting here. I could curve the path if I want to. I could go in and adjust the handle, adjust a little bit like that.
There you go.
And it gives a nice little... Like
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's better.
Good idea, Sandrine.
That's good. Thank you. I would also do the same for the tree. So the tree should be angled a little bit more, like 27 degrees. And also maybe...
27, that's quite warm.
Yeah, I wish. It's more like minus 27 here.
Well, it's -4 right now.
It was minus 13 at our place.
You could actually put the MacBook outside.
Yeah, and the fans would not kick in. So...
and that's how global warming started.
Rotation and position.
Ooh!
What's
Gareth. That? Very important.
Oops.
Are the lights on the tree going to flash?
Yes, the lights will be flashing.
Well,
shortly.
Well, I will be delighted.
I'm sure you will. All right, so let's go ahead and animate the star. So this should be pop out like this.
Yeah, then we'll probably just solo the layers and have a look at them. And then we can unsolo or Han Solo them.
Ooh.
Get it, like Han Solo. Funny. It sounds the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Just like that.
Oh, the pun police is coming back. Emma, by the way, we arranged so that everyone could get some Creative Cloud for a year. That's fine, yeah?
All right, what's happening? I need 5 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, it's all good. Emma said yes. If this means yes, then definitely. This is so good. Like, it's impressive to see what you can do in that amount of time. By the way, speaking of time, we have about 25, 30 minutes-ish.
All right, that's
left.
cool. Okay.
We do have some bonus time at the end.
That's enough time to make this, to polish this and to make it look really nice.
Yeah.
So, all right, so this is what happens. Everything balances out quite nicely. One thing I would like to do with the tree, I'm not quite happy with the tree. Let me just delete the tree too, so we don't have anything separate. So let me just isolate the tree from everything else.
No, just to make sure we don't have any misunderstanding. No, we're not giving away free Creative Cloud to everyone. That's no, that's a joke.
That was a bad joke, Tim.
So, I'm sorry, but we do actually have something for you tomorrow, which is not a joke.
So what I would like to have, the tree should be wiggly, right? Like a jiggle.
So how would you then wiggle it? Like using CC Bandit or?
Okay, there's a trick that is super nice to do. I can pre-compose that, and what I will do is I will leave all the attributes in envelope master. Okay, so I will call this tree master. Okay, so all the animation is in the overlaying layer. But what I can do now is, as soon as it has finished animating, actually, let me do one more thing. I forgot to copy in the stars. So let me just go in and copy those stars in there as well, because I want to have them animated as well. I can go into the puppet tool, puppet position pin tool, as it is called. I can select that, and I can add multiple pins. One on the bottom, one in the middle, and one on the top. And what that allows me is to have it move and wiggle around. You can animate the tree, give it some more life. And the cool thing is it will automatically create keyframes for you. So that's the default position. And I can go in and say, okay, once it has flown out, it should be like this, and then it should jiggle back a little bit, and then it should ease out. So I'm copying and pasting the original keyframe. So it's like this, okay? So it's like, okay. Again, have an ease out, which is an ease in at the out. So make it a little bit faster. And have an easy ease on this one.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't want to use Puppet Warp, there's also an effect to bend the shape of a layer, so you can also use that one. You can try to use Transform if you rather have that, or even Displace. So there are many ways to create a similar effect to make the tree dance. Getting jiggy. Yeah, thanks, Unicorn.
Getting jiggy with it. Okay, I'm just playing with the timing a little bit.
I feel like that needs a sound effect. Can you just play that? Almost.
Tim is a true master of many fields.
Adobe live streamer by day, Foley artist by night.
So this comes down like this, okay? So the timing is a little bit off because it starts at 1 second. So I'd like to shift it a little bit. Yeah, I like that.
Maybe some overshoot for the rotation.
Right.
Just a tiny bit. I'm sorry for art directing.
Yeah.
Could you move it 2 pixels to the left?
Yeah, so maybe we go 3 degrees.
Yeah.
No, hang on, that's wrong. That's
no.
Yeah, no. Here we are. 3 degrees. Uh-oh. And -1. and 1. Okay, so something is off. Hang on. Okay.
This is now the point where you usually take a lot of time to tweak all the different elements. But maybe we can just leave the tree like this and have a look at some...
I think I like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There you go.
Do you want to have more of a shoot?
No, it's fine.
We can try.
Because no, I'd rather have a look at the other animations, because we do have more. Such as the lights of the tree. Of course, we're still missing the glow. And also we have the text, the letters we want to animate.
Okay, hang on. I have it.
There you go.
So it bounces over to this side. Let me just double check. So it, oh no, it's going back already.
At that point, I think it should be on the right side.
Yeah.
Or about to move, because then like the
It should
inertia.
be here on the right. Yeah, here should be on the right side. That's why it's looking wonky. So
Need some lens flare. Yeah, that's right. And now we will create a lens flare for every light.
okay, hang on. That's okay. So it should be here on the right.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that looks more organic. Yeah, I might tweak it a little bit after stream, just to play around, because I don't want to bore you.
Yeah, you don't want to sit here and just, okay, we'll move this keyframe over here.
Yeah.
That one over there.
It's just a lot of back and forth until you find the right timing. Just, the thing is, it might be just one keyframe that you have to switch and change the timing by one frame. That might be enough. But
What do you say?
I like it.
See, it's done.
Yeah, done.
There you go.
So looking at the tree, it has separate elements like the snow and the leaves and everything, but it has 4 layers of light. And we would like to animate those lights, and the quickest way to do that is to mask them out one by one and animate them, and then we'll be finished by tomorrow. No, just kidding. The fastest way is using masks. So let me do that really quick. So let's call it light masks. Click OK and apply fractal noise, and have like a high contrast. And you can also make it like blocky, for example, like this. And complexity, you can change it. I don't know, like this. Transform scale, you can change that as well. And what you can do now is you can animate that. Okay, so let's have this rotate twice. So it's doing this. Doesn't look like too much right now.
Yeah, that doesn't look like anything to me.
Yeah,
It's like TV static.
but now when I use that as a layer mask, watch this. So we're looking at just that layer here. Of course, we need to make sure that we are using the Luma. Okay, so it looks like now the lights are flickering on and off. Of course, you have the ability to change that, the size and the scale, make it bigger. And now this is controlling the luminance of that layer. We can duplicate that layer to have a little bit of variation, and we can change the, where is the random seed? Okay, we change that, and we use this on this one, and make sure that is that, and then we make a third one, and we change the random seed. Where was it? Here. Okay. And we use this one, like that.
And that's actually a sneak peek, so to say, for a future stream, which is called Cycle Evolution in the evolution options. I wonder how that could be useful.
Oh, I'm sure you will find ways. All right, this needs to be hidden. But now if you look at it like this, isolated, you can see the lights blink on and off.
Do you know what this is missing?
What? Glow.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but I feel like those lights shall be. I mean, okay, maybe later. If we have some time at the end, how about that?
I would use optical glow.
Oh, now we're getting fancy. Everyone pay attention. This is a paid plugin. Well, that's not right.
Well, actually, it's because it's masked, so, okay, let me...
Someone has to pre-compose.
Yeah. Does it work with the glow? Yeah, with the glow it works, because then you don't have to pre-compose. Glow threshold, glow radius.
I think you need to bring down the threshold. And there you go. And the intensity up. It might, though, be still masked, so we need to probably zoom in a bit. Glow can sometimes be a bit... oh, no, there it is. I think we just need more than one. Yeah, if you scale up too much, then it becomes too dim, so you need to really crank up the intensity. There we are. And I often like even to stack them. Yes! Oh! Yes, I can go home now. I'm happy.
Okay, hang on.
It's amazing.
I will just copy and paste them on the other ones.
Oh! Yes, Sean says, glow. Carina says, looks so cool. Oliver says, the star needs glow. We can leave that as an exercise to you all at home. When you are drawing your own Christmas card, or winter or festive card or whatever, then you can feel free to animate and make everything glow. And you can bet you that I would do the same. Like, yes.
Oh,
we need some glow.
Okay, so this looks pretty good. Again, everything is simultaneous. So what we can do is we can look at the starting point and shrink down the start point.
Mm-hmm.
And now we can close that and we can stagger it a little bit. So again, it's a little bit offset and not everything is happening at the same time. So here's the envelope opening, and then they should open up at different times. So it's...
By the way, what's that shortcut you're using to navigate between the compositions? I've seen that. You're using that a lot, like...
Tab?
Tab. Oh, that's easy.
Tab. So if I want to move down in the layer or in the composition hierarchy, I can go up and down with hitting Tab or clicking on this button here.
Oh, neat.
So it opens up.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a little bit too late. So...
About 10-ish, 15 minutes left.
Okay.
Maybe even 20 if we want to, but that's a bit
That's
cheeky.
fine. Okay, maybe I want to do some secondary animation to the star because I want to have it like after it has come to its position, rotate a little bit like that. And actually the position, I'm not quite happy with it. So maybe like this. Okay. And the star should also go in like a nice curve.
And Joe says, I'm glad you asked him. I've been meaning to ask each time too, but I thought it was a plugin. Yeah, there you go. Quite useful.
Okay, let's check that out. A little bit too fast. Okay, so what do you think, Tim? So the star has some more animation, it gives more life to it.
Ooh, I like the energy, yes.
Okay, but now we need to mask this all out. So again, I'm going to select the mask and check it out. And now it looks really nice because it's like coming from behind. So that is cool. And of course, we want to have it all closed again. So what we're going to do is have a little bit of anticipation. So select the keyframe, scale, and they scale up a little bit. 120, 120. Actually, I can do them all. 120, 120, and then really fast. Be at 1%. Okay, so they should start slow. Ease out. But staggered as well. So it's kind of like and they should all move to the middle. So keyframe for the position. Let me just open up position for all of them. Just like that. And the tree moves back in. This guy moves back in as well. Sugarcane as well. And the star. All right. Oops. All right, let me see the keyframes, align them.
Oh, they're right behind me.
What?
They're right behind me, the keyframes. Like, there they are. Yes, there's some variation, so it doesn't look like it's all happening at the same time, which can often happen if you just copy and paste something and people can see like, oh yeah, it's just clearly copy and pasted.
Okay, so they disappear really quickly. Could add motion blur to that. That could help give it some more of an organic feel. But of course, we need to close the envelope. And that's very easy because we can just reverse the animation. So when that is moving in, that is closing. Ease out. So huh? Oh, too late. I'm doing it like this. Okay, so okay. All right, now we have that. I would like to show you a preset now that is really cool before we animate the individual letters. Let me just close this down and go to presets. Let me go to default and go to presets. And I think, is it still?
It's in German, yeah.
It's still German because we have installed the German version. But I think it's also called hand-drawn effect, if I'm not mistaken. And let me show you what you can do with that because all the presets have been redone, which is great because now they're more beautiful than before and really useful. And if you want to check them out, by the way, you can click on the sandwich menu and you can go to Browse Preset, and this will open up the bridge tool for you, and you can go into, for example, text animations, and you can check that all out and see how they look for any text animation. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of animate in effects, animate out, all the good stuff is in there. And I would like to point out that hand-drawn effect because it's really beautiful. Let me select multiple elements and apply that to multiple elements. You will see what happens. It gives us organic wiggle, so it looks like it's been drawn frame by frame. So everything is kind of like wiggling back and forth. We can apply that to all the elements, in fact, and this will look like this, okay? Check that out. It looks much more organic. I quite love it. It looks like a frame by frame, even when it's static.
I think it's a bit too much, if you ask me. It's like the star is
I like
wobbling
it.
quite. Oh, okay.
I like it.
What do you say?
I like it.
Perfect. Yeah.
How you come up with always I like it? Is it like
If you know how to do it, yes.
okay? Okay, I've reduced it a little bit for a couple of elements, but it certainly gives this a much more organic look. I would like to have the envelope fly in, so it's coming in from the top. So I move it up, just like that, and move it in.
We have more notes from the client.
Oh, okay.
Melanie's asking, can we add a bit of spin to the gingerbread cookies so it rotates out of the end? I think we already have some spin, but maybe we can do some more. Melanie, by the way, can you check, I mean, you're the client, of course, if the toe size of the gingerbread man is right? We had some disagreements earlier about that today. And I feel like the lips are also a bit crunchy.
Oh, yes. We're almost done, but I would like to animate the Adobe, and I would like to add the hand-drawn look to that as well. So I'm adding this. Okay, I'm reducing it to 5.
And Carina's asking, what about the tools in the back?
Oh yeah, the tools.
Have you only given us 2? Because I feel like 2 feels like not enough. We need more tools. Carina, can you just illustrate some and send them over, please? Thank you.
Honestly, I would probably hide the tools for now because they are just a little bit distracting. I would have more tools that would fly out
Yes,
as a
Russ.
particle system.
Yeah.
I might do this off stream, but for now, I would like to animate the Adobe logo. So for that, I can select the Adobe lettering, and because they're all separate elements as layers, I can go to Control-click and say Keyframe Assistant Sequence Layers, and I can say Overlap, and now I can define how many frames it should be. So let's call it 3 frames. Oh, it's 3 seconds again. Why is that? I thought it's 3 frames, Tim. Do you have an idea? Duration, 3.
Well, it seems right to me. No.
Maybe because it's maybe the layer should be shrunken down like this, and then you go to
Yeah, that might be the case.
sequence layers.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, and then you enlarge it again like that. Okay, so this is what happens then, Adobe. Okay, so it just wipes on like this.
Like, this is especially useful if you have, let's say, 15 or 20 layers you want to stagger like this.
Okay.
You want to sequence.
So let's go in there. We can do the same for Adobe Live.
Yes, Sean, 3 frames, but After Effects was counting from the end. So it was overlapping the end of the layer by 3 frames. And of course, since the end of the layer was as long as our composition, it tried to put it at the end. So After Effects was actually doing the right thing. We only told it to do it like this. But after we have shortened layers, then it worked all right. The little things you learn. And just like that, you can really animate them super easily. Like it. Yes.
Okay, and then the letter could fly down, I would say. Envelope master, position.
And of course, then if we had more time, we can also go in and create like a different color graded version, maybe dark one, to emphasize the glowing lights.
Not today.
Not today. Okay, fine.
So, but that's a good idea, actually. We were toying with the idea if we have too much time left that we could do like a dark version.
Yeah, we would have recorded some sound effects, like we have everything ready. But I think we're almost at time, so
Yeah.
final touches, and then...
Let's check it out. Yeah.
Can you full screen that?
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Perfect, thank you. And of course, don't forget to save, please, thank you.
Oh, yeah, actually let me show you one more thing that we kind of saved up a little bit. Because right now, like we can't use it as it is for Instagram because it's way too big.
Of course.
Still, if you look at the composition settings, it is at 2000 times 2500. So what we could do is we can take this one, put it in a smaller version, and call this IG Reel, for example, or Post or whatever, and then we can have this, and we have also new social media presets or presets in general. So you can use these, or you can define your own. And I think it is the height is, what is it? Is it 1080?
I mean, there's an Instagram preset in there, isn't it?
But
It's called social media. Sorry.
But it's like a 9 by 16.
Oh,
so
yeah, okay, yep. Sorry, yep.
So what's the? Is it 1920 times 1536?
I mean, there you go. If you log the aspect ratio, in this case a 4:5, it will automatically adjust the width.
I think it is 1920.
That's fine.
We can look it up later.
Yeah.
So we can click on transform and fit to comp.
There you go.
And this will be then the correct size.
Amazing.
We add this to the render queue. And now we can even select an H.264 in the render queue, which is finally again. And I save it out and I render it, and this should render really fast because it's
Thanks to
multi-core.
Multi-frame rendering. There you go, the green bar, if you haven't noticed that one yet. So if you're still using an older version of After Effects, now is the time to upgrade, because multi-frame rendering. And can you hear that?
No.
Oh, me neither. It's amazing.
That's the point.
While that's rendering, by the way, I did manage to not only install, but also open After Effects on my machine, which is quiet, because it doesn't have any fans. And we can actually check out the thing I wanted to share just a moment ago, which is like super basic. You have the anchor point here. You hold down the command key, double tap, and now it's in the center. That's all I wanted to show. That's literally it.
That's really nice and really helpful. But I think it only didn't work for me because the bounding area was the overall composition area.
Might have been. Well, it centers the anchor point to the visible area. So, and you can also go, I think it was under layer, transform, or layer anchor point somewhere. Yeah, there you go. Center anchor point in layer content. That also works. It's the same thing.
That's sweet.
I feel like I always show this shortcut. All right, back to you. Let's put it on the right. There we are.
So this is almost rendered. And done.
Hey.
And we can check it out, and we can even play it in full screen. And there it is. There's our
Amazing.
finished illustration by Carina. We can upload. Actually, we will upload this. I might tweak it a little bit, just
Yeah, of
spend a
course.
couple of minutes to really fine-tune those keyframes. But this is the animation, everything created from scratch, from an illustration by Carina that was created yesterday. All freestyling here, so nothing pre-done or pre-made, but all done today with you, watching us, seeing, learning, and hopefully being inspired.
Well, I know what I am. I'm certainly very inspired. And I think one last question, or one last comment from the art director.
Yeah, let's go for it.
I like it. I don't love it.
Nah,
One more.
Yeah.
Okay.
nah. He's never happy, right?
Nope. But I certainly am, and I hope you enjoyed this one as well. This was the second part of the festive streams this week. Tomorrow we will be back with the one and only Joe Allen, and we will work on some Japanese travel stamps. I think that's what we're doing. Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, I hope I'm not. And Emma will be hosting that one, so you'll also see her. And this will be the penultimate stream of the year from Adobe Live UK, because there's, of course, the Express stream on Friday with Maddie, actually, this time. And
See her back as well.
yes, definitely. And this then will be the last stream of the year. So do tune in tomorrow and on Friday. But for now, that's all the time we have. You want to say hi one more time? How did you like it?
Wonderful!
Melanie and Carina over there.
Amazing.
Thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, then from all of us over here, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day.
And happy
see-
holidays.
And well, not yet.
Well,
We're back tomorrow.
well, I'm not.
Fine. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to everyone from me.
Right.
Bye bye.
Bye.